Hi everyone! I am so excited to launch Zero Talks with BevZero. This is our first episode. I'm going to add our participants, but I'll introduce myself. I'm Kayla Winter, the Director of Winemaking and Product Services at BevZero. Let me see. I gotta figure out how to get our participants in here. Oh, first one. Instagram is going through the tutorial with me. Bear with us, everyone. Going through the growing pains here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Getting winemakers here. Let's see. Megan Brody, are you there? No, gotta figure this out. Let's see.
Hi, Kayla.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
How's it going?
Great. I'm going through the growing pains of figuring out how to do this here, but
No worries.
let's see. I'm going to invite our extra special guest today, Molly Fedick of Buzzkill Wines. Let's see if we can get her on here. Molly, hello.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi,
Great. How are
Molly.
you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining, and thanks to all of our viewers right now joining us. I'm super excited to have our first episode of Zero Talks with BevZero, and featuring our first guest, Molly, Molly Fedick at Buzzkill Wines.
Thanks for having me, guys. Super excited to talk about this.
Yeah. So first of all, congratulations. You just launched the first SKU of Buzzkill Wines, a Sauvignon Blanc. How does it
Yeah,
feel?
yeah, it feels great. I mean, this was just a mere idea in August of 2020, and then I decided to actually pursue it in December of that same year. So it's really only been, I mean, I can't remember when we first got together with you guys, maybe like May or June of last year. So it's really been
Mhm.
only a year from like a little bit over a year from conception to actual launch, which feels like a long time to me, but other people have told me that this is actually like a pretty quick turnaround. So I'm really happy with how everything's turned out, and the launch has been great.
Awesome. Yeah. So that was a question I had for you is kind of what was the timeline you were expecting when you first thought of the idea of making a non-alc wine? How long did you think it was going to take you for the journey?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I mean, I don't come from a CPG background. I come from a marketing and branding background. So for me, I had absolutely no idea what went into doing a project like this. So my expectations were completely up in the air. I could have said like 5 minutes or 10 years. I would have been okay with any of the answers, but all I knew is that I was super excited about the project and I wanted to see it come to life.
Sure.
Yeah, well, the fact that you pulled it off in a year is very impressive, especially for your.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
guys made it easier for sure.
And you were a huge part of that journey, Megan, doing product development and just a lot of consulting, winemaking expertise along the way. How does it feel for you?
It feels great. Buzzkill Wines was one of my first clients when I joined BevZero only about just over a year ago as well. So also getting to work with a team of one, like a female team, but also a team with like a lot of winemaking background, getting to work with Evan, their winemaker, and Laura Gabriel, and getting to be partners with other amazing females in the industry was like a really fun experience because, as we all know, we're often few and far between in this space.
Yeah. And Buzzkill team is entirely female driven, right, Molly?
It is entirely female driven. So when I started this project, the only person I knew who had like a really robust wine background was my former sorority sister, Laura. So I immediately called her up. She grew up in Napa. Her family has been in the wine industry for years, and she and her husband also have a rosé brand together. And I just said, like, Laura, how do you start a wine brand? And she sort of held my hand through the whole thing and helped me assemble this team, which ended up being all women. So um, Evan, our winemaker, you guys know Evan. She's obviously a woman. And then we've got Michelle. Sorry, that's my dog freaking out. I've got my intern coming in right now.
Your dog is as excited about Buzzkill as everyone else
Yeah.
is.
um, so yeah, I've got Laura, Evan, Michelle, who's my head of sales. And then there are a few people that you guys haven't met yet. Becky is our sort of like growth marketing head. And then My intern Emma just walked in. So we've got a very female forward, female strong team.
That's awesome.
So cool.
Yeah. Was that a part of the initial conception of the brand, or did it just happen that way?
It just kind of happened that way, honestly. I was thrilled though when it did happen. But honestly, it's been wonderful so far. I wasn't really looking to build a all female team. I was looking to build like a team of the best possible people, and they all ended up being incredible women.
Yeah. Well, I can see why.
Thanks.
No, that's awesome. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background, Molly, and kind of the work that you've been doing to get to this space where you're now launching into the non-alc market.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started out as a journalist. I did not ever plan on going into the wine industry. I was just a regular wine consumer. I love wine, obviously. So I was journalist for a while. I started some meme pages back when Instagram first came out in 2012, 2013. That led into me getting a job at Hinge, the dating app, when Hinge was sort of in its infancy. So I joined the Hinge team when they were 14 people. And then I left when they were over 100 people in December of 2020. So that was definitely a massive part of my journey. I was there for almost 5 years and saw the company grow from like very, very small startup to what it is now, which is, you know, $1 billion company, one of the biggest dating apps in the world. So honestly, I think that part of my career made a huge impact on why I found this process pretty seamless, to be honest. Nothing really phases me. I went through every possible fire drill and terrible thing that can happen in a startup with Hinge. So I don't really freak out easily. I'm not rattled easily. And any bump in the road that I've come to, which there certainly have been several, you know, you just kind of go with it and move forward.
Yeah. Were there any bumps in the road that you don't mind expanding upon, or anything that did kind of take you by surprise?
I mean, we definitely like our biggest bump in the road was thinking that we had pre-sold all of our wine to a retailer, and then them not being able to fulfill that sale. So that was definitely a big one. And then we had to kind of pivot and build out a DTC website really quickly, find a fulfillment partner. And then our head of sales also had to go and rush and try and get some like wholesale deals in place. So it honestly though, this industry is so hot right now that it's been really, I don't want to say it's been easy to sell the wine, but it's been easy to sell the wine. Also, we have a really good product, obviously.
Totally. So where can we find your product now if a consumer's looking for it? What's the best way to kind of find the latest launch?
You can sign up on our website for the wait list. We're going to be releasing the wait list and fulfilling those orders probably like early next week. So that's buzzkillwines.com. And then it is available on Boisson again. I just checked. They restocked.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about the product. You launched with one SKU. It's a Sauvignon Blanc, correct?
Correct. Yes. So
great. What was the...
We launched with the Sauv Blanc. I actually wanted initially to launch with a red, but as you guys know, reds are really hard to make. So when you're in, you know, doing the de-alking process. So I spoke to a ton of people. I love Sauv Blanc personally, but I wasn't going to let that be my guide. I spoke to a ton of people that were actually on the front lines, like selling wine, like bartenders and somms and people like that, to sort of see like what would be the best thing to move forward with. And one of my really good friends, his name is Abe, he was in charge of the beverage program at Chelsea Market in New York City. And he's actually, he doesn't drink anymore, but he's still a somm, so they call him a sober somm. And he suggested doing a Sauv Blanc. He called it the workhorse of the bar. So most people order it. It, you know, it goes with a lot of different, pairs well with a lot of different foods. So that's kind of why we decided to do the Sauv Blanc. And it was also really important to me that we not do a blend. I wanted like a full 100% Sauv Blanc.
Sure. Yeah. And stylistically, I think it's a very bright and fresh Sauvignon Blanc. Has a lot of tropical notes, a lot of the varietal specific characters, but it's also, you know, not extremely Sauvignon Blanc heavy in the terms of like that vegetal or cat pee aromas. So it's an approachable Sauv Blanc in my opinion.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and we also were really excited about the idea that it could go. It's kind of like a year-round wine. It's not like a seasonal sort of wine, like a rosé or something. So we were like, all right, this will be good for, a good first SKU because people will be able to enjoy it year-round and won't feel out of place.
Yeah, absolutely. And your product is canned. What was the reason for going into cans?
Oh my gosh, there was so much debate whether or not we wanted to do cans or bottles. So, on the bottle side of things, I was like really excited about bottles because I think there's something about like the ritual of opening a wine bottle that's really nice, especially when you're doing an NA wine, giving people that option to like, uncork and like do all the things that you do with like a regular bottle of wine. That was very important to me because I was like, okay, well, as somebody who didn't drink at all for 8 months, I enjoyed the process of opening the bottle. But then when we went back to the drawing board and started talking about like the practicalities of cans versus bottles, a lot of restaurants, bars, any like on-premise account, they were very, very adamant about the fact that they would prefer having a can because they could do single serve. So and then in addition to that, I was thinking about all the different use cases, like practicalities of, like realistically where, as a consumer myself, where was I bringing wine like this? A lot of times I would be bringing my own drinks to parties or like, get-togethers or whatever. And I don't necessarily need to bring a whole bottle of wine for myself. So I like the idea of being able to throw like a few cans in a bag and like just, go that way. That being said, we are doing bottles in the fall in addition to the cans.
Okay. Excited.
Okay, cool. I know from the production standpoint, we had a few issues with our first Sauv Blanc and finding that right Sauv Blanc that could go into can, because when you're going into can, then you have all these other risks of SO2 stripping the canning liner. So picking that Sauv Blanc that you guys ended up going with was, one, obviously a delicious product, but two, had to meet all those specifications from a production standpoint. So I know that was definitely one little hurdle we had at the beginning, is finding that right blend.
Yeah, and thank God you and Evan were there because I was useless in that department.
You have your own expertise, that's for sure.
Yeah. How did you go about like the packaging and the design for Buzzkill and even that name?
So the
obviously it's clever.
Yeah. I think the name is a fun story. So when I came up with the idea for Buzzkill, I was living in Lake Tahoe. It was the middle of the pandemic, and I decided to rent a house with some friends and work remotely. I was still working for Hinge at that time. I wasn't drinking at all at this point, which was very uncommon for people during the pandemic. Most people started drinking more. I just completely cut it out. So I was bringing my own drinks to parties and like outdoor things like après-ski events and stuff. And everyone was like, oh, you're not drinking, you're such a buzzkill. So everybody was calling me a buzzkill. So I kind of figured there's one of two ways you can go about this whole like I'm not drinking right now thing, which is you can try and hide it and say like, oh, maybe people think this soda water is a vodka soda or whatever. Or you can like own it and just be like, yeah, I'm a buzzkill. So I decided to go with the owning it side of things and just say like, yeah, it's kind of an act of rebellion in a way to not drink in a society that, really celebrates and glorifies alcohol at like every turn. So that's where I came up with the name. And the packaging, we actually went through one iteration of packaging, which was good prior to the one that we ended up going with. It was good, but I used a UX designer because I come from the tech world, and it ended up looking too much like an app. So I was like, okay, I need this to actually look like a food product. So I had been in touch with a guy named Adam, who's now one of my greatest mentors and advisors, and he put me in touch with a design firm in Scotland called Thirstcraft, and Thirstcraft ended up doing all the design work for us. They did an awesome job, and we wanted something like super bold that would stand out on the shelf, and that would also just like do justice to the name Buzzkill. I mean, it's not exactly a subtle name.
No, I wouldn't say that. It's subtle name, subtle packaging, and it's not really subtle advertising as well. I've described it to, some of my friends as unapologetically sober or sober curious. You guys don't shy away from, as you said, trying to showed the world, yeah, I'm not drinking. But there's a reason for that, and I'm totally fine with it. And you should be too, really, which I love that messaging behind it.
Yeah, 100%. And I actually, I started a TikTok account, Molly from Buzzkill, a couple of weeks ago that I talk a lot about those things on the TikTok. And yeah, I think being unapologetically, I like to say alcohol free because I think sober has connotations to it that maybe not don't apply to everybody who doesn't drink, or maybe you're just not drinking for that night or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to say alcohol free over there, and or just I'm not drinking or whatever. But yeah, totally unapologetic vibes.
Great.
Yeah, I noticed on LinkedIn you post about the success of your TikTok. Can you explain that like journey? And I know you just kind of changed your name and saw kind of benefits to kind of making it more personalized.
Yeah, so I started the TikTok as at Buzzkill Wines, which like duh, that's the natural thing that you would start with. But when I was at Hinge, I hired an employee named Alana, who was the kind of like the face of Hinge, and she and I like brainstormed together. She was our social media coordinator, and she and I brainstormed together on how we could make Hinge as popular as possible on social media and as approachable and friendly as possible. And we thought that putting a face to the brand would be a good way to do that. So I was, in the very beginning stages of starting the Buzzkill at TikTok, and I had heard that you could grow really fast on TikTok compared to Instagram right now. And so I said, okay, like I'll take a chance and I'll change my name from Buzzkill Wines to Molly from Buzzkill, and I'll like speak directly into the camera or type over my face or whatever about, whatever topic I'm talking about. And that also gave me the freedom to talk about things that were more like loosely related to the brand or to the idea of not drinking. So I talk a lot about dating, career things, get people who are getting married, like all different topics. And then how that can relate back to, the presence of alcohol in your life or the non-presence of alcohol in your life. So it's really been super successful. Like I've only been doing it for 2.5, 3 weeks, and I've got almost 1,300 followers. So
you're already viral.
Wow.
You've had a viral video, right?
Huh?
You've had a viral video already.
I did have a viral video. Yeah, I have a video that's got almost 500,000 views on it. So that's
insane.
Yeah.
That is insane. That's definitely not growth that we're seeing in any other social platform, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would recommend everybody go over to TikTok. It is so much fun. And I've also connected with so many people in the like sober, curious, alcohol-free space that are doing awesome jobs of like reviewing products, talking about why you might want to explore this sort of lifestyle. So there are just like so many cool people over there.
So there's a sober, curious community on TikTok.
Huge sober, curious community. It's huge, but it's not so huge that you can't enter into it. So like every single brand, I would recommend go over there and just join in the conversation. Like I know Ritual, Zero Proof, like tequila, whiskey, all of those spirits, they do a really good job. Bon Buzz, which is a new alcohol-free spirit, they have a really great TikTok account. It's kind of all these like smaller brands that are really like kind of crushing it, and it's very impressive to see what everybody's doing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Cool.
And I've also found that with the influencers who are like talking about making mocktails, or they'll do little contests where they'll say like we want to review wines or whatever. I just literally have been sending everybody wine, and I just sent a bunch of people wine last week, and I'm super excited for people to see what they have to say about it. And like, there's nothing better than a review of a person actually drinking it and talking about it.
Sure. Yeah. So do you feel like TikTok is somewhat replacing other platforms for your advertising, or are you using everything?
I use only Instagram and TikTok right now. That being said, that's not, not to say that I also use LinkedIn, but I'm not sure if we would call that a social platform or not, kind of.
Yeah.
But I think as my company grows, as the business grows, I might, be, in the position to hire somebody to run the other platforms. That being said, Instagram and TikTok are definitely like my bread and butter. They always have been, and especially Instagram. But to be totally transparent, Instagram is not doing a good job right now of showing your content to people. So I don't know what that's about, if they're just like, they do algorithm changes all the time, and I keep on top of that just because I have meme pages and like other things that I run on Instagram. And this is something that everybody's been talking about in the Instagram community. So for right now, I definitely have been focusing my efforts on TikTok.
That's good feedback. Yeah, I don't know if many of our other clients are really utilizing TikTok as a form of advertising, but it sounds like it's been very lucrative for you.
Yeah, definitely. And you can also, there's so many, it's kind of an intimidating platform to start on. Like, I think when you first open TikTok, it's like very unfamiliar to a lot of people, and they're like, how do I make a video? I don't get this. Like, it just looks hard. And
That's Molly. I'm so confused. I have one to watch other people's videos, but I'm so lost.
yeah, I just started, I started like with super basic videos, and like slowly getting a little bit more complicated, like doing edits and transitions and all that. But you can make like really basic videos. I think as long as you insert yourself into the right community, and even just commenting on people's stuff is a really good start.
Mm-hmm.
And hashtags
Yeah.
also work on on TikTok. Unlike on Instagram, they don't really do anything anymore, but people find communities through hashtags on TikTok. So there's a hashtag called Sober Talk, and that's what everybody's using to like talk about it.
Amazing.
Hashtag sober talk.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is great insight. I am also very intimidated by TikTok and don't know anything about it. So it's very helpful to have someone.
I mean, I think it's hard to use, but the more you're on it, the more you kind of like learn and get it.
Sure. Well, it sounds like it's an important avenue to research. So
Definitely.
that's good.
Highly recommend.
Great. Yeah, well, everyone should check out buzzkillwines.com. By the way, this website does not look like you pieced it together overnight. It is very well done. I love the colors and just kind of the advertising again, just how it's fun. It's still something to drink at a party and while you're enjoying yourself, not just because you want to be a buzzkill, although it's self-proclaiming that I kind of am a buzzkill at the same time.
Yeah.
Love that.
And it also, like a lot of bars around here, I live in LA, I've started carrying it, and it's just been so cool seeing it, like seeing people order it. I saw someone order it like in the wild the other day for the first time. That's so cool. Like, it was like the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's like the best feeling ever. When you start noticing just it out in the world. I always say, like, if I were a musician and I just heard my thing on the radio, like, I would lose my mind. And that's the same thing when you see someone just drinking your wine and they've chosen to order it at a restaurant or bar.
I was such a creep. I like took my phone out and like zoomed in to like.
So what's next for Buzzkill? Like, I know now you just surprised me today that you're going to go into bottles, which is really cool. It'll be cool to have multiple formats, large and small, canned and bottled. But do you have any other kind of ideas on the horizons or things that you want to explore?
So yeah,
with the
we're
brand?
launching another SKU in the fall, which is kind of like a top secret SKU. You guys know about it, but you better not reveal.
Oh, no.
Ideas and plans for an additional SKU in the spring, which we're excited about. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But at this point, we're honestly just focused on, getting in as many wholesale accounts as we possibly can. So we are in conversations with a bunch of distributors and obviously distributing ourselves as well. So yeah, that's kind of where we are.
Great.
Amazing. Do you think non-alcoholic is more popular yet in bars and restaurants, or do you think it's mostly DDC right now?
Yeah.
Like, what's been your experience?
I mean, at least in LA, I can only speak for where I live. I think Southern California is kind of like on the forefront of this whole trend because there's such a wellness focus here. There are almost every menu at restaurants around here has a non-alcoholic section. So that is like a huge leap for sure. And yeah, I think I just love I love going into restaurants. I started doing things where I'll bring my laptop and work and just talk to the bartender while I'm doing my work about like, hey, how often do people order non-alcoholic stuff? Like, what do you suggest? And I think the point that we're at right now is there's demand for it. People are asking for non-alcoholic drinks, but they have no idea what's out there. So I think it's our job as brands to be as visible as possible and like make as big of a splash as possible, because like there's so many spirits, for example, that are on the market that when I tell people like, oh, have you tried this or have you tried this? They're like, I literally have never heard of a non-alcoholic spirit or even like a non-alcoholic wine. Like what people are, the average person is familiar with non-alcoholic beer, and that's kind of it. So I think that unless you're like really searching it out, we still have a lot of work to do on like education, but it's quickly ramping up in terms of demand.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is in the beer world, like a lot of the Heinekens and a lot of those big brands, Stella Artois, have come out with a 0.0. We haven't seen that so much in the wine space. We really see like small brands and startups like Buzzkill really pushing this forward and growing rapidly, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Honestly, it's been such a fun space to be in. Like, and working with you guys has been awesome. You made the process so easy. So I definitely excited to see what's to come.
Thank you. We have a question from the audience. Will the Sauvignon Blanc be bottled, or is this the bottles only for the new SKU?
Yes.
Yes, it will. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then is there a way for our audience members or just any Buzzkill follower to find out which restaurants the products are in? Is that available?
Adding all that information to our website and to our Instagram,
Great.
TikTok, everything.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I mean, do you have any other points you want to mention and to any of our listeners right now?
No, I don't think so. This has been really fun. I guess I'm just super excited for everybody to try it. I would love for everyone to leave a review if they can. I'm so proud of the product. Everyone that's tried it literally can't believe that there's no alcohol in it because it tastes so authentically wine-ish. So would just love as many people as possible to try it out and let me know what they think. And also follow me on TikTok at Molly from Buzzkill. I talk a lot about all alcohol-free things on that channel.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you for joining us. Thanks for just being our clients. We love working with you guys.
Yeah.
And are really excited for the product as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Great.
Thanks, Molly. Good to see you.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everyone. Don't forget to follow Buzzkill Wines and buzzkillwines.com for more information on where to buy. All right. Cheers.
Bye.